What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Maverick Raven coming at you with another one. And let me just start off by saying my prejudice, my bias, my whatever. I believe that transgender women should not compete in female sports. I don't. It's it's a super unfair advantage. You're knocking deserving women out of the running for scholarships and who knows what else. It's mostly for scholarships though, for college and university and stuff like that. And I'm on that side, you know. So with that prejudice in mind, I'm gonna read this and try not to snicker too much because it is a bad news for people on my side. It is a bad news article for people on my side, but we're gonna continue anyways. West Virginia takes transgender sports ban fight to Supreme Court. We're working to defend the integrity of women's sports. Excuse me. We must protect our young women, said West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey has vowed to appeal an unfavorable court ruling overturning the state's transgender sports ban all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, with athlete and policy advocate Riley Gaines joining him in calling for protections for women's sports. We're not going to allow the elites in the swamp to impose their values on West Virginia citizens, Mr. Morrissey said at a press conference in the state capitol in Charleston on April 24th, during which he said his office would soon be filing a petition with the Supreme Court challenging last week's court ruling that overturned West Virginia's transgender sports ban. The Fourth Circuit of Appeals issued an order and opinion on April 16th that blocks enforcement of West Virginia's Save Women's Sports bills on the grounds that the law violated the constitutional rights of the plaintiff, a 13-year-old eighth grade athlete who was born male but identifies as female, and has gone through and is probably going through puberty as a male. Just saying. The American Civil Liberties Union brought the lawsuit that challenged the law on behalf of Becky Pepper Jackson, the student who was prevented from joining the girls' cross country and track and field teams. The law bans students from participating in single sex sports teams that don't match their biological sex. Calling the case one of the most important cases that his office has handled in more than a decade, Mr. Morrissey defended the Safe Women's Sports Bill as reasonable. Yeah, it sounds reasonable. It's based on biology and it's based on fairness, he said. We're working to defend the integrity of women's sports. We must protect our young women, he continued, adding that every time a biological male competes, he takes away an opportunity from a biological girl. That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. If the left wants to pretend that there's so many transgenders out there, then create a league for just transgender people. Create a league just for that. Create a league just for transgender women and create a league for just transgender men. But you won't do that because there's not as many people as you want the world to believe there are. There's not as many transgender people as you want the world to believe there are. That's why it's like it's the 99% kowtowing, and bowing and basically prostrating themselves to the 0.5%. If that. If that. Mr. Morrissey added that it's not just a question of fairness but of safety, knowing that boys are stronger and faster than girls, even if they didn't go through puberty, and so protections like the ones afforded by the Save Women's Sports Bill are necessary. I agree with him on that too. He insisted that the appeals court got the ruling badly wrong and that he would time his appeal to the Supreme Court to give it the best chance of being heard and winning. Good. Good for him. You know what? Good for him. Miss Gaines shared her experience of being a collegiate swimmer who would compete against Leah Thomas, a male who identifies as female, and pointed to the safety risks associated with men being allowed into women's sports. Not only do women have to worry about losing opportunities and being exploited in locker rooms, but allowing men into women's sports also puts girls at greater risk of injury, she said. I can see that. Acknowledging that sports injuries can and do happen when women compete against women, Ms. Gaines insisted that allowing males to play in women's sports decreases the likelihood and severity of such injuries. I could see that easily, yeah. Jack Jarvis, communications director for Fairness West Virginia, said that Mr. Morrissey's statements about transgender youth contribute to a hostile environment with increased harassment, bullying, and discrimination. Good Lord. In 2024, who is really seeing the, transgenders or anybody of the LGBT community being bullied to such an extent? Really? Like, honestly? Like, I understand normal bullying, and by normal bullying, I mean, people used to make fun of the fact that I had facial hair when I was young, when I was super young. I was like 13. That's is that bullying, you guys? No, it's just somebody busting my chops. I'm not gonna pretend that this is some great, you know, campaign of bullying against me. Everybody gets their chops, their chops busted. Everybody does. If you want to support women, you need to support all women, Mr. Jarvis said, according to the Associated Press. Becky and all of the other trans youth across our state deserve to fully participate in school activities and athletic events. Yeah, all four of them. The 13-year-old transgender student continues to participate in girls running sports. After the Safe Women's Sports Bill was signed into law by West Virginia Governor Jim Justice in 2021, it was quickly challenged in court by the ACLU. Of course. The group argued that Becky Pepper Jackson, referred to in court filings by the initials BPJ, never underwent male puberty and so doesn't have any athletic advantage over naturally born girls. BPJ was diagnosed with gender dysphoria in 2019 and was treated with puberty blockers followed by gender affirming hormone therapy. The ACLU claimed that the West Virginia law discriminated against children like BPJ on the basis of sex and transgender status in violation of the U.S. Constitution and Title IX, including the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, which prohibits a state from denying a person within its jurisdiction equal protection of the laws. Initially, Southern District Southern District of West Virginia Judge Joseph R. Goodwin, a Clinton appointee, issued a preliminary injunction in July 2021 temporarily blocking the transgender sports ban. Of course, because he's a Democrat. However, Judge Goodwin later reversed this decision, ruling that the law is constitutionally permissible. Really? Wow, okay, good for you. Judge Goodwin noted in his 21-page order that because not all transgender girls take puberty blockers like BPJ, a law that protects female sports and athletes based on biological sex classifications is valid because biological males generally outperform females athletically, which is true. This is a fact. And I can't believe that in 2014, the age of science, where everybody wants to, preach science this and science that people can't just be honest and say men or boys are born stronger than girls. It's just a fact, dude. Like, why is this so controversial? I don't understand when in my life this became a controversial opinion. It seemingly happened overnight. It really did. Let's see. The government has an important interest in providing equal athletic opportunities for females. However, upon appeal, the Fourth Circuit reinstated Judge Goodwin's initial injunction, temporarily blocking the law once again. That decision was then appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, which refused to lift the block and reinstate the transgender sports ban, allowing BPJ to compete on the girls' team while effectively kicking the case back to the Fourth Circuit for a final decision. The Fourth Circuit heard oral arguments in the case in October 2023 and issued its final decision on April 16, 2024, reversing the transgender sports ban and ruling that it violates the Title IX protections. The act's sole purpose and its sole effect is to prevent transgender girls from playing on girls' teams. Yeah, because transgender girls are not girls. It's. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody, even though I know that people are going to get offended regardless. I don't care. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. The reality is that if you can't be just. If you're not referred to as just a girl, you have to be referred to as a transgender girl because obviously you weren't born a girl, then you're not a girl. You're not. Like, you're a transgender girl. Fine. I'll call you want me to call you a transgender girl and feed to your gender dysphoria and your mental illness? Fine. I'll do that. Okay? I don't think it's healthy, but I'll do that. But let's not pretend that transgender girls are girls. Okay? Because they're not. They're transgender girls. The judge argued that offering BPG a sex BPJ, I'm sorry, a choice between participating on boys' teams in line with their biological sex is no real choice at all because of all the transgender treatments BPJ had undertaken, and that it's unreasonable to expect a reversal of these changes. Judge Hayden's said that West Virginia's transgender sports ban amounted to sex-based discrimination that violates Title IX protections. By participating on boys' teams, BPJ would be sharing the field with boys who are larger, stronger, and faster than her because of the elevated levels of circulating testosterone she lacks, the judge wrote. The act thus exposes BPJ to the very harms Title IX is meant to prevent by effectively excluding her from participation in all non co ed sports entirely. But what about the girls? What about the girls? Because you're saying BPJ. Oh, well, BPJ, she can't play on the boys' team because the boys have an unnatural advantage. Well, guess what? BPJ has an unnatural advantage. Unnatural advantage. I'm sorry, against girls. Like, come on, man. Like, what? Where is the common sense here? And of course, the ACLU held a ruling while Mr. Morrissey decried and vowed to continue to fight for the integrity of women and girls sports, leading to his Wednesday pledge to appeal to the Supreme Court. I hope they hear it and I hope that they nail this because this is ridiculous. West Virginia is one of at least 24 states with laws that prohibit biological males from competing in certain women's or girls' sports competitions. If we allow this decision to stand, then those laws are in danger too, Mr. Morrissey said during the news conference. Guys, if you've got daughters, if you've got wives, if you've got any women in your life, think about this for a second. Young girls are being knocked out of you know of all sorts of academic scholarship opportunities just because of people like BPJ. It's not fair to these girls, man. It's not fair. There has to be some sort of solution. I don't have it. Me personally, I would say that 0.5% of the population is screwed. That's what I would say. I would say, sorry, dude, but you're screwed. But because, like I said before, there's not enough people to start a league for just transgenders. But there's bowing to the 0.5%. That's not the solution. That's definitely not the solution. But there you have it, you guys. That's the video. Thank you for hanging out with me this long. Appreciate it. If you would, please like, comment, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. The subscriptions really do help and they mean a lot to me. So anything you could do would be appreciated. But for now, you guys, stay safe and stay based.